I was sitting at our daughter Sarah's graduation dinner, my chest swelling with pride as she talked about her future plans. 26 years of marriage, and Elena and I had raised an amazing daughter together. The restaurant buzzed with other celebrating families, everyone in high spirits. Then Elena stood up suddenly, her face cold as stone. "Marcus," she said loud enough for nearby tables to hear, "I can't do this anymore." My heart dropped. She reached into her purse and pulled out a thick envelope. "You've been cheating on me, and I'm done pretending everything's fine." The entire restaurant seemed to go silent. Sarah's face went white with shock. "Mom, what are you talking about?" she whispered. Elena slammed the envelope down in front of me. "Divorce papers. I already filed them this morning." Her voice cracked with fake emotion. "I know about you and Rachel." "Rachel? My business partner?" I felt like the ground was spinning beneath me. "Elena, what are you?" "Don't lie to me," she screamed, then stormed out of the restaurant. I sat there stunned, Sarah crying beside me as every eye in the place stared at us. My hands shook as I opened that envelope. I rushed home after the disaster at the restaurant, my mind racing. Sarah rode with me in silence, still in shock from her mother's public scene. When we pulled into our driveway, Elena's car was there, but the front door was standing wide open. I found Elena in our bedroom, frantically stuffing clothes into suitcases. "Elena, please talk to me," I said, trying to stay calm. "What's this about Rachel? We're business partners, nothing more." She whirled around, her eyes blazing with anger. "Don't you dare lie to me, Marcus. I have proof." She grabbed her phone and started swiping through photos. "Look at these." The photos showed me and Rachel at business dinners, shaking hands with clients, sitting across from each other at meetings. Normal work stuff. "Elena, these are business meetings. You know that." "Business meetings?" She laughed bitterly. "You're always with her, always staying late, always choosing work over family." Her voice was getting higher and more frantic. I tried to reach for her hand, but she jerked away. "I've been faithful to you for 26 years. Whatever you think you see." "I don't think, Marcus, I know." She grabbed another suitcase from the closet. "I already changed the locks on our business account. You won't steal from me too." While Elena was in the shower, I noticed her laptop sitting open on the dresser. Something told me to look, and what I found made my blood run cold. Email after email with a divorce attorney named Williams, dating back 6 months. "Mr. Williams, I need this divorce to be as public and humiliating as possible. Marcus values his reputation above everything." My hands trembled as I scrolled through more messages. "I want to serve him at our daughter's graduation dinner. Maximum witnesses, maximum embarrassment." There were invoices for a private investigator named Stevens. Elena had been having me followed for months, desperately searching for evidence of an affair that didn't exist. The investigator's reports all said the same thing. Subject maintains professional relationships only, no evidence of infidelity. But Elena kept pushing him to dig deeper, to find something, anything. One email made me sick. "Can you get photos that look romantic, even if they're not? Different angles, maybe crop out other people?" She'd been planning this public humiliation for half a year. Every family dinner, every time she said she loved me, she was plotting to destroy my reputation. I took screenshots of everything, my heart breaking with each click. The shower was still running. I had to see what else she was hiding. I picked up Elena's phone from the nightstand, and my world shattered completely. Text message after text message with someone named Derek. My wife of 26 years was having an affair. "Can't wait to hold you again, beautiful. Just thinking about last night. Marcus is working late again. Come over in an hour. After we get his money, we can finally be together properly." The messages went back over a year. My legs felt weak as I read more. They'd been planning this divorce as a scam. Derek was Elena's yoga instructor, and they'd been using my money to plan their future together. "Derek, the prenup says I get nothing if I cheat. That's why we have to make Marcus look like the cheater." "Don't worry, baby. My brother-in-law is a lawyer. He'll help us frame this right." I started taking photos of every message with my own phone, my hands shaking so badly I could barely hold it steady. 26 years of marriage, and she'd thrown it all away for her yoga instructor. But worse than that, she was trying to destroy my reputation and steal my business. The shower shut off. I quickly put her phone back and pretended to be getting ready for bed. Inside, I felt like I was dying. Sarah came home around midnight, her graduation dress wrinkled and her eyes red from crying. "Dad, what's really going on?" she asked, sitting on the couch beside me. I'd been wrestling with what to tell her. She deserved the truth, but I didn't want to destroy her relationship with her mother. Finally, I made my decision. I showed her the screenshots from Elena's laptop and phone. Sarah's face went through so many emotions as she read. Shock, then anger, then heartbreak. "Mom's been lying about everything?" she whispered. "I'm afraid so, sweetheart. She's been having an affair and trying to frame me for cheating." Elena came downstairs at that moment, probably expecting to find me alone and defeated. Instead, she found Sarah confronting her with the evidence. "How could you do this, Mom? How could you ruin my graduation with lies?" Elena tried to grab the phone, but Sarah pulled away. "It's not what it looks like," Elena said frantically. "Your father drove me to this. He's been emotionally distant for years. So you cheat on him and try to destroy his reputation?" Sarah stood up, towering over her mother with righteous anger. "You planned this whole thing to humiliate him in public." Elena started crying, but they look like crocodile tears to me now. Sarah grabbed her suitcase. "I'm staying with Aunt Lisa until you figure out how to be honest." The next morning, I discovered Elena's betrayal ran deeper than just the affair. She'd been systematically sabotaging our consulting business for months. Client files were missing from our shared server. When I called our biggest clients, 3 of them told me Elena had already contacted them, suggesting they'd be better off working with a more stable firm. "She said you were having personal problems that might affect your work," explained Jim Patterson, our largest account. She recommended switching to Coleman & Associates. Coleman & Associates. I looked them up online and felt sick. Derek Coleman, certified business consultant. Elena hadn't just been cheating with her yoga instructor. She'd been helping him start a competing business using our clients. I checked our business bank accounts and found unauthorized transfers going back 3 months. Small amounts at first, then bigger ones. Elena had been slowly bleeding our company dry, transferring money to accounts I didn't recognize. My phone rang. It was our accountant, Mary. "Marcus, I've been trying to reach you. There are some irregularities in your business accounts that we need to discuss immediately." This wasn't just a divorce. Elena had been planning to destroy everything I'd spent 15 years building. My marriage, my reputation, my business, my relationship with my daughter. She'd tried to take it all. I sat in attorney Jennifer Cole's office the next morning, feeling like I was in a nightmare. Jennifer was known as the best divorce lawyer in the city, and after hearing my story, I understood why. "Marcus, your wife's strategy actually helps us," Jennifer said, reviewing my evidence. "The public nature of her accusations, combined with the proof of her affair, strengthens our position significantly." She leaned forward with interest when I mentioned Derek's last name. "Derek Coleman? His brother-in-law is Sam Coleman, Elena's attorney. This is a family conspiracy." My heart sank even deeper. "They've been planning this together?" "It appears so. But here's the thing. When you plan to commit fraud, you leave a paper trail. And your wife left a very clear trail." Jennifer smiled grimly. "The prenup she's trying to avoid? It's about to work in your favor." She explained that Elena's public accusations were actually defamation, especially since she knew they were false. The stolen business funds were marital asset theft, and the coordinated plan with Derek and his brother-in-law might even be considered conspiracy to commit fraud. "I want you to file counter-divorce papers immediately," I said. "And I want to press charges for everything. The theft, the defamation, all of it." Jennifer nodded. "Let's destroy their plan before they can destroy you." By Wednesday morning, Elena got the surprise of her life. A process server showed up at Derek's apartment, where she'd been staying, with my counter-divorce papers. Jennifer had worked all night to file charges for adultery, defamation, and marital asset theft. I was in court by 9 a.m. with emergency motions to unfreeze our accounts and freeze Elena's access to any remaining funds. The judge, a no-nonsense woman named Judge Martinez, reviewed our evidence quickly. Mrs. Thompson has transferred $200,000 in marital assets to accounts belonging to Derek Coleman without her husband's knowledge or consent, Jennifer explained. We're requesting immediate asset protection. Elena's lawyer, Sam Coleman, tried to object, but the evidence was overwhelming. Bank records, transfer receipts, even text messages between Elena and Derek discussing how to move the money. Judge Martinez granted our emergency motions. All accounts were frozen immediately, and Elena was ordered to provide a complete accounting of every penny she'd moved. Better yet, the judge ordered Derek's personal accounts frozen too, as recovery for the stolen funds. I walked out of court feeling like I could breathe again. Elena's plan was crumbling, and we'd only just started fighting back. The preliminary hearing was scheduled for the following week. Elena showed up confident, with Derek right beside her wearing an expensive suit, probably bought with my money. She kept whispering to Sam Coleman, clearly expecting to dominate the proceedings. Then Jennifer stood up and began presenting our evidence. Screenshots of Elena's emails planning the public humiliation. Bank records showing the stolen money. Photos of Elena's text messages with Derek going back over a year. Elena's confident expression slowly changed to horror as the judge read through everything. When Jennifer played a recorded phone call where Elena coached the private investigator to get creative with his photographs, Elena started hyperventilating. "Your Honor," Elena suddenly shouted, "he drove me to this. Marcus was cold and distant. He forced me into Derek's arms." Judge Martinez looked at her sternly. "Mrs. Thompson, nothing justifies fraud, theft, or defamation. Your personal feelings don't excuse criminal behavior." Elena started crying, ugly, desperate sobs. Derek tried to comfort her, but even he looked scared now. Their plan had backfired spectacularly. Instead of destroying me, Elena had destroyed herself. The judge set a trial date and warned both sides against any contact with witnesses. Elena's public humiliation strategy had worked, just not the way she'd planned. The worst part was discovering how Elena had poisoned my relationships with her family. For months, she'd been calling her parents and sister, telling them I was emotionally abusive and cheating on her. Elena's sister Maria called me Tuesday night, crying. "Marcus, I need to tell you something. Elena made me promise not to say anything, but I can't stay quiet anymore." Maria explained that Elena had confessed her affair months ago, begging her to lie if anyone asked. She said she deserved to be happy after years of being married to someone who didn't appreciate her. "She made you sound like a monster." Elena's parents had been cold to me at Sarah's graduation because Elena had spent months preparing them for the divorce. She'd told them I was having an affair, that I was planning to leave her with nothing, that I'd been abusive behind closed doors. "None of us believed she would do something this extreme," Maria said. "When she told us about the public divorce, we thought maybe you really had driven her to it. But then Sarah called me yesterday." Sarah had been reaching out to family members, sharing the evidence of Elena's lies. Elena's own family was starting to turn against her as they realized how thoroughly she'd manipulated them. "I'll testify for you, Marcus. Elena needs to face consequences for what she's done." Elena and Derek made one last desperate attempt to salvage their plan. They contacted our biggest client, Patterson Industries, claiming I was having a mental breakdown due to the divorce and couldn't be trusted with their account. Derek posed as a concerned friend, calling Jim Patterson directly. "I'm worried about Marcus," he said. "The divorce has really affected his judgment. You might want to consider more stable consulting options." What Derek didn't know was that I'd been recording all my phone calls since discovering the affair. Perfectly legal in our state. When Elena called Jim 2 days later with the same story, I caught that conversation too. "Marcus has always been obsessive," Elena told Jim. "Now he's becoming paranoid and erratic. I'm afraid he might damage your business reputation." I called Jim immediately and played both recordings. His response was swift and brutal. "Marcus, I'm disgusted by what they tried to do," Jim said. "Not only are we keeping you as our consultant, but we're expanding our contract and we'll be filing a complaint against Derek's business for attempted client theft." Elena's plan to destroy my professional reputation had backfired again. Instead of losing clients, I was gaining them. Word spread quickly in our business community about Alina's underhanded tactics. The forensic accountant Jennifer hired uncovered the full scope of Elena and Derek's financial planning. They'd been coordinating this scheme for 18 months, with Derek quitting his yoga studio to become Elena's business partner, using stolen marital funds. They used your money to put a down payment on a beach house in Derek's name, the accountant explained. They were planning to disappear there after the divorce was finalized. Bank records showed a pattern of increasing theft over 6 months. Elena started with small transfers to test if I'd notice. When I didn't catch on immediately, she got bolder. The final transfer of $50,000 happened the day before Sarah's graduation. Derek had opened multiple business accounts using Elena as a reference and co-signer. They'd planned to claim the money was consulting fees Elena had earned helping him start his business. Jennifer filed immediate motions to seize the beach house as recovery for stolen marital assets. We also went after Derek's personal property, including his car and investment accounts. They thought they were so clever, Jennifer said with satisfaction. But financial fraud always leaves a trail. Now we follow that trail right to their assets. Elena's dream of running away to the beach with her lover was about to become a nightmare of legal consequences. Sarah had enough of her mother's lies. On Thursday afternoon, she posted a long message on social media defending me and exposing Elena's true behavior. She included screenshots of Elena's text messages, coaching her to lie about me being absent or emotionally cold. "My mom has been lying to everyone about my dad," Sarah wrote. "She cheated on him, stole his money, and tried to destroy his reputation with false accusations. Then she tried to get me to lie for her. I'm done protecting someone who refuses to tell the truth." The post went viral in our community within hours. Friends, neighbors, and business associates shared it hundreds of times. People who had heard Elena's version of events were shocked to learn the real story. Elena's yoga class friends started commenting with their own experiences. Several mentioned how Elena had been trash-talking me for months, painting me as a neglectful husband who cared more about work than family. The response was overwhelming. My phone buzzed constantly with messages of support. Clients I hadn't heard from in years reached out to offer encouragement. Even Elena's own friends started reaching out to apologize for believing her lies. Elena called Sarah screaming about the post, but Sarah refused to take it down. "Maybe if you'd told the truth from the beginning, I wouldn't have had to," Sarah told her. Just when I thought Elena's betrayal couldn't get worse, Derek's ex-wife contacted me with information that made everything even more sickening. "Derek pulled this exact scam on me 5 years ago," Amanda Coleman explained over coffee. "He seduced me during my midlife crisis, convinced me to divorce my first husband, then disappeared with half my money." Amanda had evidence that Derek specifically targeted married women going through difficult transitions. He'd done this to at least 3 other women, always with the same pattern: seduce them, encourage divorce, steal money, then abandon them when the legal heat got too intense. "Elena isn't his first victim," Amanda said sadly. "Derek studies these women, finds their weaknesses, and exploits them. He probably told Elena everything she wanted to hear about her marriage." She showed me Derek's dating profiles from before he met Elena, where he specifically targeted women looking for new beginnings and those ready to leave the past behind. I felt a moment of sympathy for Elena. Derek had manipulated her. But then I remembered her months of planning to destroy my reputation, and my sympathy disappeared. Elena had made her own choices, manipulation or not. "He'll abandon her the moment the money runs out," Amanda warned. "That's what predators like Derek do." Elena's professional reputation was collapsing as quickly as her personal life. Clients who had followed her to Derek's firm started demanding refunds when word spread about the fraud charges. Several business partners cut ties immediately. The local business journal ran a story about our case, focusing on the ethics of using stolen funds to start a competing business. Elena's and Derek's names were mentioned prominently, along with details about their scheme. Elena's new consulting practice, which she'd launched with such confidence just weeks earlier, was forced to close. No one wanted to work with someone facing fraud charges. Derek's business collapsed even faster as clients fled, and his brother-in-law faced ethics investigations. I ran into Elena at the grocery store on Saturday. She looked terrible. Unwashed hair, rumpled clothes, dark circles under her eyes. She tried to avoid me, but I approached her calmly. "I never wanted it to end this way, Elena," I said quietly. She looked at me with desperate eyes. "This is all Derek's fault," she whispered. "He convinced me you didn't love me anymore. He said you were planning to leave me anyway." But even as she tried to blame Derek, I could see she still couldn't take full responsibility for her choices. Some people never learn. The final court hearing was everything I'd hoped for. Judge Martinez had reviewed all the evidence thoroughly, and her ruling was swift and decisive. Elena had to pay $75,000 in damages for defamation, money she didn't have. She had to return all stolen funds with 18% interest. Most importantly, the prenup's infidelity clause kicked in, meaning she forfeited her claim to our house, business, and most shared assets. Elena collapsed in her chair when the judge read the ruling. 26 years of marriage, and she was leaving with almost nothing, just her personal belongings and a damaged reputation. Derek, who had been sitting in the back of the courtroom, quietly slipped out during the ruling. Amanda had been right. He was already abandoning Elena as the consequences piled up. Sam Coleman, Elena's attorney and Derek's brother-in-law, faced his own problems. The state bar was investigating him for conspiracy and ethics violations. His law practice would probably be suspended. I felt no joy watching Elena's world crumble, only relief that the nightmare was finally ending. Justice had been served, but at such a terrible cost to everyone involved. 2 days after the court ruling, Elena showed up at my office begging for forgiveness. She looked desperate, probably realizing that Derek had abandoned her and she had nowhere else to turn. "Marcus, please," she cried. "Derek manipulated me. I wasn't thinking clearly. I want to come home. I want to try again." It was painful to see her so broken, but I'd moved past the point of no return. "Elena, you didn't just cheat on me. You tried to destroy my reputation, steal my business, and turn our daughter against me. There's no coming back from that." She grabbed my arm desperately. "I'll do anything. I'll get counseling. I'll make it up to you." "It's too late," I said firmly but kindly. "You made your choices. Now you have to live with them." Elena's face twisted with rage. "Fine, but don't think this is over. I'll tell everyone what a cold, heartless man you really are." I calmly reminded her about the restraining order Jennifer had filed. Any attempt to defame me further would result in immediate arrest. Elena stormed out, but I could see the fight was going out of her. The woman I'd loved for 26 years was gone, replaced by someone I didn't recognize. Rachel, my business partner who Elena had falsely accused me of having an affair with, had been incredibly supportive throughout the entire ordeal. She'd helped me rebuild client relationships and expand our business despite Elena's attempts at sabotage. "I'm so sorry you got dragged into this mess," I told her one evening as we worked late on a new proposal. Rachel smiled warmly. "Marcus, we've been friends for 8 years. I know the kind of man you are. Elena's lies never fooled me for a second." Our professional partnership had deepened into a genuine friendship over the past months. Rachel had been there through the worst of it, offering practical help and emotional support without ever overstepping boundaries. Working with someone who trusted and respected me was healing after years of Elena's growing resentment and suspicion. Rachel believed in my abilities and appreciated my work ethic instead of seeing them as threats to our relationship. "You're going to get through this," Rachel assured me, "and you're going to be stronger for it." For the first time in months, I started believing that might be true. I was rediscovering my worth outside of my failed marriage. Sarah's engagement announcement brought unexpected joy to my life, but also another confrontation with Elena. Sarah had made it clear that Elena wasn't welcome at the wedding unless she apologized publicly and made genuine amends. "I won't apologize for protecting myself from your father's emotional abuse," Elena told Sarah during a tense phone conversation that Sarah put on speaker. "What emotional abuse, Mom? Dad never abused anyone. You cheated, you lied, you stole money, and you tried to destroy his reputation. Those are facts, not feelings." Elena hung up rather than admit her wrongdoing. Sarah was heartbroken, but determined to move forward without her mother's toxicity. Planning Sarah's wedding became a healing experience for both of us. We grew closer as we worked together on details, and I felt honored that Sarah wanted me to walk her down the aisle alone. "Dad, you've always been there for me," Sarah said one evening over dinner. "Mom chose Derek over her own family. That's her loss, not ours." The wedding was beautiful, filled with people who truly cared about Sarah and me. Alina's absence was notable but not devastating. We'd learned to be happy without her constant drama and manipulation. Derek resurfaced 3 months later, desperately trying to make a deal. He cornered me in the parking lot outside my office, looking paranoid and desperate. "Marcus, listen," he said urgently. "I'll leave town permanently if you drop the theft charges." Elena was the one who planned everything. I just went along with it. I could see Derek was in serious trouble. Amanda had been right. He owed money to dangerous people and was running out of options. His business had collapsed, his brother-in-law's law practice was suspended, and the stolen money was gone. "No deal, Derek," I said calmly. "You made your choices. Now face the consequences." Derek's desperation turned to anger. "You have no idea who you're messing with, Marcus. Drop those charges or you'll regret it." I pulled out my phone and started recording. "Are you threatening me, Derek?" Derek realized his mistake and tried to backtrack, but it was too late. The security cameras in the parking lot had captured everything. I had him on video making threats, which added criminal intimidation to his growing list of legal problems. Derek fled the parking lot, but I knew it wouldn't be long before the law caught up with him. Derek was arrested 2 weeks later on multiple charges: theft, fraud, criminal intimidation, and conspiracy. Elena was forced to testify against him to avoid being charged as an accessory after the fact. Watching Elena on the witness stand was surreal. She finally admitted to orchestrating the false accusations against me, planning the public humiliation, and coordinating the financial theft with Derek. "I was angry and hurt," Elena testified. "I felt like Marcus didn't appreciate me anymore. Derek made me feel special, and I got caught up in his plans." Even under oath, Elena couldn't fully accept responsibility. She still painted herself as a victim of Derek's manipulation, even though the evidence showed she'd been an eager participant in their scheme. Derek's lawyer tried to claim Elena was the mastermind, but the evidence showed they'd planned everything together. Both were guilty, both were responsible, and both would face consequences. The judge sentenced Derek to 3 years in prison and ordered full restitution. Elena received probation and community service, plus the financial penalties from our divorce. Her public apology was part of her plea agreement, but it felt hollow and forced. 6 months after the divorce was finalized, I started a support group for men who had been falsely accused during divorce proceedings. The response was overwhelming. Apparently, Elena's tactics weren't as unique as I'd thought. "The hardest part is that no one believes you at first," shared Robert, whose ex-wife had made similar false accusations. "People assume the woman must be telling the truth." Our group met weekly, offering practical advice about legal protection, emotional support, and strategies for rebuilding reputations after false accusations. I found purpose in helping other men navigate similar situations. My business thrived as word spread about my integrity and resilience. Clients respected how I'd handled Elena's attacks with dignity and professionalism. Several new clients specifically sought me out because of my reputation for ethical behavior. "What Elena meant for evil, God used for good," I told the support group one evening. Her attempts to destroy me actually revealed my true character to everyone who matters. I was building a life based on genuine relationships and honest work, instead of the superficial peace I'd maintained in my marriage. Rachel and I took our relationship slowly, both aware of the complications of mixing business with personal feelings. But over months of working together and supporting each other, our friendship naturally deepened into something more. "I don't want to rush anything," Rachel said during one of our dinner meetings that had become more personal than professional. "But I can't ignore how I feel about you." I felt the same way. Rachel had seen me at my lowest point and still believed in me. She appreciated my dedication to work instead of resenting it. Most importantly, she was honest and trustworthy, qualities I valued more than ever. Sarah was thrilled about our relationship. Rachel's perfect for you, Dad. She actually appreciates who you are instead of trying to change you. Alina learned about our relationship through mutual acquaintances and had a very public meltdown at a local restaurant, screaming about how I'd stolen her life and was now flaunting my affair. Several people recorded her breakdown, which only proved she hadn't changed or learned anything from her experiences. The restraining order was still in effect, so Elena faced consequences for her public harassment. On what would have been my 27th wedding anniversary, I received the final divorce decree in the mail. Elena made one last attempt to contact me, leaving a rambling voicemail about how sorry she was and how Derek had ruined both our lives. I didn't respond. Instead, I celebrated my freedom with Sarah and Rachel at a nice restaurant, the same place where Elena had served me divorce papers a year earlier. The irony wasn't lost on any of us. "Dad, are you sad about the anniversary?" Sarah asked gently. "No, sweetheart," I answered honestly. "I'm grateful. Elena's betrayal was devastating, but it forced me to discover my own strength. I'm happier now than I've been in years." Rachel squeezed my hand under the table. Sometimes the worst things that happen to us lead to the best things. That night, I threw away the last reminders of my marriage to Elena, old photos, anniversary cards, wedding gifts. I was ready to move completely forward without any anchors to that painful past. The divorce that was supposed to destroy me had actually set me free. 2 years later, my life had transformed completely. My business was more successful than ever, built on genuine relationships and proven integrity. My relationship with Sarah was stronger than it had ever been, and Rachel and I were planning our own wedding, a celebration of honest love instead of convenient appearances. Elena still struggled with the consequences of her choices. She'd moved to another city, trying to rebuild her reputation, but the internet made it impossible to completely escape her past. Derek was still in prison, abandoned by everyone who had once supported him. I occasionally felt sorry for Elena, remembering the woman I'd fallen in love with 26 years earlier. But I'd learned that feeling sorry for someone doesn't mean you have to let them back into your life. "Do you ever regret how everything turned out?" Rachel asked me one evening as we watched the sunset from our deck. "Never," I answered without hesitation. Elena's betrayal was the most painful thing I've ever experienced, but it led me to discover who I really am. It led me to you. It showed me what genuine love looks like. I looked at the woman beside me, honest, supportive, trustworthy, and felt grateful for the journey that had brought us together. Elena had tried to destroy my life, but she'd actually saved me from a relationship built on lies and led me to one built on truth. Sometimes the worst betrayal becomes the greatest blessing.